Gravitas, powered by Skoda, made of smart imagination.
Meanwhile, the Taliban are busy courting allies and cobbling partnerships. But they still don't have a government. It's been 22 days since the Taliban took Kabul. They waited 20 years for this moment to return to Kabul and to rule Afghanistan. Just one problem: they have no idea how to. Forming a government is never easy. We know how difficult it is in democracies. Now add guns and ethnic rivalries to this equation, and it explains all the delay. You see, the Taliban are a broad group. They have many ethnicities, they have many factions. Not all of them are on the same page. Now, normally such differences would be resolved through talks. But don't forget, this is the Taliban. Talks are not their strong suit. This weekend, we got a glimpse of their approach. Multiple reports claim that Mullah Baradar was injured. Apparently, there was a clash on Friday night, Baradar's men versus the Haqqani network. It left the Taliban co-founder injured, said some reports. Turns out all those reports were false. Mullah Baradar was not injured. In fact, he is busy meeting delegates from the United Nations. They promised him humanitarian support for Afghanistan. So those reports were wrong, probably propaganda. But let me tell you this. There is no smoke without fire. The Taliban may try to project unity, but behind the scenes, there is bickering and infighting. Who gets the big ministries? Who controls the military? This is the true face of the Taliban. They're not liberators or crusaders. They're power-hungry barbarians. There are two main factions in this power struggle. Faction number one is the Doha group, which includes Mullah Baradar and Sher Mohammad Stanekzai. Both men are guaranteed top government positions. Faction number two is the Haqqani network. There is no clarity on what their role will be. Remember, this is a United Nations designated terror group, the Haqqanis. Putting them in the government is a big risk. But the Haqqanis bring the muscle. They are supported by Pakistan and they have ruthless fighters in their ranks. Bottom line, the Haqqanis are not conceding. So what do they want? They have a problem with Haibatullah Akhundzada as supreme leader. There is some speculation that Akhundzada is dead and the Doha faction is using his name to command the Taliban. Wouldn't be a first for them. The news of Mullah Omar's death was suppressed for nearly 2 years. That's conflict number one. Conflict number two is the inclusion of civilian leaders. Should the likes of Hamid Karzai and Abdullah be part of this new government? The Doha faction says yes. Not to share power, but to fool the global community. The Haqqani network disagrees. They don't want members of the toppled regime. These are the two main differences between the Doha faction and the Haqqanis. But the problems don't end here. There is another Taliban faction vying for power, equally strong and equally stubborn. The group led by Mullah Yaqub. He heads the Taliban's military. Yaqub has a problem with the Doha leadership. He says they lived in posh hotels. They held talks in AC conference rooms. While back in Afghanistan, the commanders did all the fighting. So Mullah Yaqub wants military leaders in government, not the Doha leadership. There is also disagreement on the rule of law, or rather rule of Sharia. We've heard the Taliban spokesman make tall promises on women's equality, on freedom of speech, on general amnesty. This is supposed to be the moderate face of the Taliban. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but unfortunately it's true. There are factions in the Taliban that want extreme interpretation of the Sharia. Most of them are based in Kandahar. Once they reach Kabul, this bickering could escalate. Who pays for this delay? Not the Taliban, certainly. They're happily lounging in the presidential palace. This delay will hurt the Afghan people. Right now, foreign aid has stopped. There is no one controlling the banks, no one planning economy or tackling the refugee crisis. We don't expect the Taliban to expertly solve these problems, but every country needs a government, however bad, especially a war-torn country like Afghanistan. This infighting is a sign of things to come. Even if the Taliban do cobble up a government, can they remain united? What is stopping these factions from waging turf wars? Nothing. And that's what happens when warlords and extremists capture power. They're anarchists by design. Order and peace are alien to them. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, powered by Skoda, made of smart imagination.